By the end of this video, your users will be able to copy both text and links to their own clipboard. Now this would be super helpful if you're building some sort of app where you want your users to be able to copy information from within that. Or it could even be that you want them to be able to copy a link and share that to an external place. Now look, this one is fairly straightforward, so what I'm going to do is hand this over to Matt and he's going to walk through everything you need to know.
Hey guys, so today we are going to learn how to copy text and links from different elements inside your bubble page. So we're going to go through the elements that we'll need, the plugins that we'll need to install, and then also go through some of the workflows and some best practices for adding in elements like this. So let's go across to our example. Here we have our copy to clipboard button. We have some random text that is just a text element on the page. And then this input over here is just so we can test that our elements have been copied and the correct text is going to be pasted into that area. So we're going to click over here on copy to clipboard. We get our pop-up. Now let's go to our multi-line input and we can press paste. There you go. So we copied this element over here. This is an example text. So let's go over to our bubble editor and we're now going to delete all of these elements here and we're going to start from scratch. So our first thing that we're going to add in is our button, and the button we can go to our layout, throw that to the center, we can add some margin at the top. And we are going to change our label to copy to clipboard. Forgot the B. Alright, so let's add a little bit of padding to make the button look a little bit better. 415. And there we go. Now the first thing that we're going to try copy is just a text element. So we're going to throw in a text element. We'll make that go to the middle. Add in some space again. And here we're just going to say this is a test text element. Cool. And then the last thing we're going to need is our multi-line input. So we'd use a multi-line here in case we were copying a large text. Like let's say you have a blog post or something that you want to copy, then you need a multi-line input so you'd be able to add a lot of rows of content. So let's throw this to the middle and add some margins on the top. Great, and let's just make the width a little bit better. Awesome. So now we have our basic design elements. We have our click to copy button, our text input. We'll get to copying from other elements in a little bit. So now we need to create our success pop-up. So over here in assets, we're just going to type pop and we're going to add in a pop-up. Now this height we can change to say 150. We're going to add in a text element and we're also going to add in an icon. So for the text, let's make it in the center. We'll add a bit of margin at the top. And then we're going to say successfully copied to clipboard. And so let's make that bold. And our star, we're going to go here. We'll add just 5 pixels of margin to the top. And let's go to this icon and we're going to go down to feather and we're going to say check. And we're going to use this one over here. So let's change the color to our green success. Cool. So now we have our basic alert or pop-up for when we have copied the item. Alright, so now we have our pop-up. So let's now go and look at the plugin that we need to install, and that is Air Copy to Clipboard. So we're going to go over here to the left to plugins. We're going to say add plugin. We're going to type Air Copy, and you get this one over here. So we're going to then install this Air Copy to Clipboard, and then we're going to go find it, and we're going to have a look at the actual plugin itself. Here you can see that we have the element Air Copy to Clipboard and the actions paste from clipboard A, copy with links, copy to clipboard, or copy to clipboard from element, and as well as copy to clipboard with formatting. So those are really important for the next step we're going to do, which is creating the workflows. So we've added in our plugin, and we've had a look at the plugin actions. So now, in order to copy this text element over here, we're going to go to our button, which would be the copy button, and we're going to add a workflow. So when this item is clicked, it's going to type copy. We're going to copy to clipboard from, let's start with an element. So now you see here it asks for an element ID. So if we are copying with element IDs, we need to make sure that in our settings under general, we go all the way to the bottom. We need to make sure that expose the option to add ID attribute to HTML elements is checked. Otherwise, this won't work. So that's checked. So let's go ahead. We click our button again. We go edit workflow. So we need to add in an element. Now let's go to the element that we want to select, and we're going to give it an ID attribute in its appearance. We're going to call this test1. Now over here we're going to say test1. So now that pretty much covers the copy part, but we also want to tell the user that's copying this item that it's been done successfully. So we're going to go show and pop up A, which is our text copied successfully. And then we're going to add in pause. We're going to pause this for 1 second. So it says 1000 milliseconds, which is essentially 1 second. And then after that pause, we're going to hide an element, and that will be pop up A. Cool. So let's go and preview and see if it's working. So essentially, when we click that button, it should copy this phrase. This is a test text element. So let's go ahead and click the copy. So we get our pop-up, and we're going to right-click paste over here. This is a test text element. So that means that this is working. Now, let's go have a look and see if we had an input. So we'll put that in the middle. Give it some margin. And we're going to go here to its initial content, and we say this is a input text test. All right, so now we've already seen that we can copy this text element that is just sitting on the page. So we're going to delete that, and now we're going to try get this information or text from this input. So we need to go back to our copy to clipboard workflow, and now we've deleted this test1, or at least in its HTML ID. So we're going to delete that, and in its place we're going to try and add a new item, which will be copy from an element. So we tried with our copy with element. That's not really going to work. So we're going to go copy from static text, and our text to copy will be that inputs item. So over here we can type in input A, and then input A's value. So now let's go and try and copy this text. So I'm going to click copy, go to our multi-line input, and click paste. Okay, so you see it says this is a input text test. Awesome. So those are the basic steps that you can use to copy different elements. But there are also some other things that you can now add in through the workflows. So now we have this text to copy. We could also add in things like the current page URL or even specific data. So let's go ahead now and look at this. We can delete our input, and essentially what should be copied is this over here. So we're going to click copy and we're going to paste. There you go. So it copies this URL from the top of the page. Now, if you were trying to, let's say, copy a user's profile, you could do another step in your workflow, which would be to append sorry, I need to reset that. You say URL append current users slug. Okay, so this would be great for, let's say, if I was on a profile page and it was my app /profile and I needed to copy this current user's profile, or the user just needs to copy their specific referral link or something like that. So it would be great to append a specific item to that copy. So there you have it. There are a couple different ways that you can extract specific text from a page as well as URLs with some extra information. Hope you guys found this useful and go give it a try.
And just like that, you now know how to create a feature that allows your users to copy both text and links to their clipboard. If you found this video useful and you wanted to stay up to date with any additional Bubble resources we share, I'd always recommend hitting that subscribe button to my channel so that way you can be the first to know whenever we drop a new tutorial. For now though, I just wanted to say a massive thank you for taking the time to watch this specific video, and I wish you all of the best on your own no-code journey.